Let's bring in a guy that knows a little bit about the ACC-SEC rivalry. He's our quarterback, Danny Kanell, who jumps on the show, CBS Sports, Sirius XM. Squeeze in a little time with DK today. Danny, how's your summer going, man?
What is up, Jim? My favorite guest on Dusty and Danny in the morning. It really does. It brightens up my day. Like, you listen on your way into work. You're also my fact checker, because if Dusty and I say something, you're always all over it. And like, hey, no, or like a researcher. Like, you are a jack of all trades, and I am here for it, man. It's good to catch up with you.
Way to let everybody know that I text and drive on the way to work sometimes, letting Danny
right.
and Dusty know something. Taylor Korn here, our social media director. She's alongside the other two guys who are on vacation. If you're expecting the better questions from Brownie or LT, they're not here today. Listen, man, I was on my way into work today and heard you and Philpott in my 6 o'clock hours. I was driving to work talking about Florida State being maybe one of the hardest teams to handicap this year, and I was like, I agree 100%. I don't know what we're getting with your Seminoles.
Neither do I. And I think a lot of Florida State fans and people that cover the program are a little shell-shocked after what you saw last year. And it's totally understandable, right? I mean, and I was doing some win totals with the Cover 3 pod. And, typically on a year coming into a season with Florida State, you would chalk up a lot of, games as wins. I don't feel that confident this year after what we saw last year. Because last year, I would have gone in and I would have said, all right, we're going to beat Boston College at home, like automatic. Don't even think about a loss. Memphis at home, that's a W all day long. Duke on the road, a program that we hadn't lost to in program history, that's an easy W. And we lost all of those games. And that's just 3 of them. That doesn't include the other 9 that we lost. But I will say, this is also the program that Mike Norvell was able to turn around and turn into a national championship contender just 2 seasons ago. So, could we get that again? Potentially. Could they be a surprise upside team? Potentially. If the Gus Malzahn experiment works with Tommy Castellanos, because it's a quarterback that, fits what he wants to do, which is be really mobile and, run the football and take advantage of some play action pass, then yeah, they could be an upside surprise. But I think people are just very, very cautious in chalking up those W's, as am I. And also the start of the season, that Bama game is lingering right around the corner. Just 1 month, from today, August 30th, we're going to see that game, and they're already a 12.5-point underdog. I am genuinely concerned if that game goes sideways, do we see a team throw in the towel again after they've been so fractured from what we saw last year?
That's something that we were actually just talking about. And Dunaway, being the Alabama guy that he is, said that Gus Malzahn being the offensive coordinator for Florida State this year makes him a little bit uneasy about
haunts me. It haunts me.
Yeah.
He's beaten Alabama so many times.
So does that give you a little extra confidence going into the season opener, considering he's had success against Alabama in the past, or is it, is that kind of irrelevant at this point?
Taylor, I wish I could just come on here and talk some smack, but I really worry that I would set myself up to potentially be eating a lot of crow later. We need to get Dunaway to Tallahassee. I'm going to be there, and I'm going to be there with CBS. We're doing a little pregame show from outside, and Damian Harris, former Alabama running back, is going to be on set with me, and he's talking all kind of trash. And I'm I don't want to go back at him because I know what's going to happen. He's going to make some bet that's totally over the top, and I'm going to have to do something stupid. And, of course, you have to back your alma mater. But I do think that is the one thing that kind of gives you a little bit of hope, right, is what sprinkles can Gus throw. He's a great offensive mind. I think this might be a great situation for him, kind of to catch his breath, to really do what he really, cut his teeth and came into the business, was being an offensive mind. Now that he doesn't have to worry about being a head coach and managing so many players, he can just focus on the offense. They're going to have to scheme up some things because Alabama's defense, especially their defensive line, might be one of the best, if not the best, in the SEC. So I don't picture Florida State just lining up with 2 backs in the backfield and running it right at Alabama's defense. But that's the good news, is Gus hasn't been known for that. A lot of misdirection, a lot of quarterback run, which does neutralize a disadvantage that they're going to have along that defensive front.
Go ahead and make that bet, man, but don't get into head shake.
Are you going to go? Done. What do we got to do to get you in Tallahassee?
Man, I got friends who are at Florida State. They've got suites at the stadium there, so I have the open invitation to go sit in their suite. But they told me I couldn't wear Bama gear. I can't wear. I got a new hat that says "Spend my dollar," and they said I can't wear that hat. So I've got to dress neutral if I sit in their box.
Yeah, but the box sounds like the way to go. 3:30 in Tallahassee. I don't know if there's going to be many hotter places on the planet than 3:30 in Tallahassee for a kickoff. The other thing that's interesting, I don't know if you guys saw this, with the renovations they made, only 67,000 is the capacity there, which I know some Florida State fans were upset about. I think you kind of let it play out, see how it goes. I've always felt the belief that once you get 50,000 fans in the stands and they're all as loud as they can be, there's not that much difference in 50 and 100, but they're going to put that to the test. I think they'll be loud. I think they'll be ruckus. But that was something Florida State fans a little bit upset about. But the issue is there's too many empty seats versus Wake Forest and Virginia or a Boston College come to town. I think you'll have a little bit of a better, fuller stadium against some of those lesser ACC opponents.
That was the most ACC thing you've ever said in your life. There's not much difference between 50 and 100,000. I mean, that is...
Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. Go out. You can't hear yourself if there are... Especially if you get a venue like, I don't know what Notre Dame Stadium, but we were there in 93. It's not the biggest venue. It's not like a cathedral, but they were on top of you. I mean, literally, they warned us before the game. They said, keep your helmets close to you because the fans could actually reach over like from right behind you and steal them. Now, they've since backed it off a little bit, and they've widened the kind of sideline atmosphere there. But I think it's always how close they are. That's why I think Ohio State, Michigan, they get mentioned as some of the loudest stadiums in the country. I've been at both in big games. They're not anywhere near as loud as some of the stadiums that you get in the SEC. And it's not really their fault. They're trying to get as loud as they can. They're just so far removed and the stadium acoustics go out. I mean, Ohio State has a track around it. So like you're already that much further removed. So I'm standing by my theory of 50,000 can be just as loud as 100,000.
Yeah. Now, Brian Denny, there's space on the sideline, so it's not on top of you like it should be. But I have a philosophy. If you can stand on the 50-yard line and see trees outside the stadium, like most of your ACC stadiums, it can't be that loud. I'm
not making the case that ACC stadiums are the loudest in the country. Yeah. I'm saying they have the potential to be. Now, they have a long way to go to try to even replicate anything that you've seen in the SEC. I'm just saying they have the potential to be loud.
Okay, what's one thing you did some media? You did some media days away from the house there. What was one thing you learned you didn't know at media days that was a big takeaway from you? Something that maybe somebody that impressed you, maybe you feel better about a team, a player or something. What was your biggest media day takeaway?
So I was in Las Vegas for Big Ten Media Days. A couple things. One, and this is after watching SEC Media Days and Big Ten Media Days, like in the following weeks, the line is drawn in the sand. And we've known this, but I was kind of blown away at how everyone has bought into the company line. Whether it was the SEC, it was 5+11, and almost every single coach was pounding the table for that, except Eli Drinkwitz went off the rails a little bit, and he probably had a talking to from Sankey, said, hey, we need to pull everybody back in. But at the Big Ten, almost the same thing. It was, and I love this because I'm not a fan of the committee. Most of the coaches were like, we don't want a committee. We want to play it on the field, and we want the four AQs. But the amount of everyone being on the same page was pretty stark contrast, like to see those two opposing forces. And then from a team perspective, I was pretty blown away by Penn State. Like I am trending towards probably picking them to win the Big Ten and maybe even the national championship. You saw a maturity out of them that I think you saw at Michigan a couple years ago. You saw at Ohio State last year. They're bringing back players that could have jumped to the NFL. Both running backs are back. They go make the big splashy hire to bring in Jim Knowles to run the defense. But just from the player's perspective, Nick Dawkins, who is Daryl Dawkins' son, he's Brian Dawkins, the former Philadelphia Eagles cousin. He's their center. One of the best personalities I've talked to at a media days, like since I've been in this business. Like, and he was just infectious, but he also was very mature in his answers. Like they're aware of the expectations and they're embracing it, but they're not overblowing it, if that makes sense. James Franklin's always impressive. And then Drew Aller, I was very curious to see where their quarterback was sort of confidence-wise. I think he's very comfortable in his own shoes. I think he realizes the pressure that's on him. And Nick Dawkins said to me something that I thought was really interesting, his center, because I was asking him, hey, how do How do you see him? How does he handle himself? And he said, look, everyone knows he's probably the most player with the most pressure and scrutiny on him in all of college football because he needs to take that next step. But he said no one puts more pressure on themselves than Drew Aller. And I really like that perspective because he's aware of it. He's pushing himself. He said he lost some weight, got into even better shape. And I do think year 2 in their offensive system, remember they brought in Andy Koltnicki, the offensive coordinator from Kansas.
Yep.
I think that comfort level, I was asking him about that. And he's like, oh, I'm so much more familiar with the terminology, able to get through my play calls, at my checks at the line of scrimmage. I think that was big. So I know it's not like really I was impressed by the favorite, by the Big Ten media, like picked Penn State to win. But I did feel like even better about leaning their way to pick them as the Big Ten championship, the Big Ten title.
We talked to Taylor Tannenbaum earlier this week about ACC Media Days, and a player that she was very impressed with was Carson Beck. How do you see the transition from Georgia to Miami going for Carson Beck?
Taylor, my guy Dusty said the same thing. He was at ACC Media Days covering them, and he said the one player that impressed him was Carson Beck. I did tell Dusty that he said the same thing 2 years ago when Carson Beck was making the rounds for Georgia. Like, there's no doubt he can handle himself in front of a microphone, but how does he – there's a lot of question marks for me with Carson Beck. Is one, how does he do without Brock Bowers, without Aladdin McConkey, two guys who I think are even better than we realized in college. Like, we just saw maybe one of the best tight end seasons in the NFL from Brock Bowers, and we saw Aladdin McConkey as like this pleasant surprise of how well he played in the NFL. So he doesn't have them. I don't think he's going to have the supporting cast that he had at Georgia as far as the defense goes, even though their defense wasn't quite as dominant. And then you've got a major surgery like that we haven't seen many times, coming back from this elbow surgery that Carson Beck is back from, which did cost him, a lot of time to be getting reps with receivers an entire offseason. So you're kind of cramming that all together. And I got a lot of heat from Miami fans because we were doing a bold predictions. And when I hear bold predictions, I get kind of excited because I'm like, that to me opens you up to give outrageous takes. Like, they're supposed to be bold. You don't want to come limping in with a take. And my bold prediction was Miami was going to miss a bowl game. And Miami fans lost their minds. I also understand that Miami could be playing in the ACC title game. But if you lay it out, the way their season and the way the expectations are unfolding, it's not that dissimilar to what Florida State went through a year ago. They're counting on transfer quarterback who's coming in with, a little bit of a checkered past, on the field as far as how there's been inconsistencies. They're relying on some portal players to step up. And the schedule it's not favorable for Miami. If they start off a little bit rough and their schedule's not easy, that Notre Dame game week 1, they play Florida early. If they fall behind the 8 ball, that's where I wonder in today's game, where you have transfers that come in and they're sort of hired guns, and just today's players' mentality becomes more like the NFL, where if you start facing some adversity, there's not a lot of pride for your university. Like, there's not a lot of, well, we have to go out there because, we're playing for the fan base and we're playing for the history of the program. A lot of these guys don't understand the history of the program, and they just want to pay for the paycheck. Like, as long as the check clears, then I'm good. And you start going through the motions. Meanwhile, you're still the Miami Hurricanes. You're going to get everybody else's best shot, and all of a sudden things can kind of fall apart. So I don't think that happens. It's not a prediction. It was a bold prediction for a reason, but they do have to get off to a fast start, or I wonder how the season goes for the Canes.
All right. Before you go, and I know you're short on your time, I'm not even sure your quarterback skill set makes the Kanell medal stand. In just my short time of listening and following you, number 3, I put your broadcasting skill, bronze medalist. Silver medalist is your golf game. But your dad, you're a great dad, a gold medal dad. A lot of our viewers and listeners, kids go back to school here in Alabama next week. A lot of them are athletes. Taylor was Vestavia High School's all-time leading scorer in soccer. Decided she did not want to play in college. Motivation, keeping your kids encouraged. Give the dads out there who are watching a tip on keeping their kids encouraged through sports or anything else this school year. Give it to me, DK. Super dad. What do you do? What do you do in your house?
I love hearing that Taylor was a soccer player. My youngest is a soccer player. She wants to play in college. She's only 13. My oldest just committed to Elon to play volleyball. So she's going to be a senior in high school, but she's going to go play volleyball at Elon. My middle's kind of figuring it out. But I've taken the same approach, and I'm actually gonna start. There's actually something I'm gonna announce here in the next few weeks because it's sort of a passion project of mine to address the parenting crisis that we have in youth sports. Like, I have been shocked at some of the things that I've seen in youth sports. When I was caddying for my daughter, she used to play golf when she was younger. I saw dads cursing out their 10-year-old daughters, like, because they missed a putt. I'm like, what are we doing? When I watch youth sports, I see parents like so stressed out. You can sense the tension, like you can cut it with a knife. And I'm always relaxed. Like, one of my favorite things to do is watch my daughters compete, not win or lose, but I want to see them trying their best, having fun while they're on the field. And if the results come, then great. But the majority of athletes are not going to get a scholarship. A majority of athletes are not going to turn pro. Keep things into perspective. I get that it gets stressful because there's so much money involved and it gets very expensive. If it becomes something where it's stressful to you financially, then I think you need to reevaluate your priorities. And maybe as opposed to playing travel or club, have them play with a rec league where it is all about what it's supposed to be about. Keep having fun, the main thing. I honestly, the transferring I see that we see in college, you see it happen in high school, and even younger, you see kids hopping from club team to make sure they can get playing time or starting time. It is outrageous, some of the stuff I see. So we need to really dial back some of the expectations and the stress that we put on our kids that are playing youth sports, boys and girls. Realize sports are about having fun. Yes, they're about building character, which is one of my toughness and how to interact with other people. But let's remember, sports are about having fun. So go watch your kids, support them, but have fun. Make sure fun is the priority, or else they're going to lose their love for the sport they're playing.
That's the Danny Kanell I love right there. See? Everybody's always bashing. Why are you friends with this guy? That's my guy right there.
Hold on, though. I'm a little disappointed. I got my golf club championship trophies. I'm a little disappointed to have me at number 2 on that one. Like, I've got a pretty nice golf set up here too with some club championships. So I'm a little disappointed. Yeah. I'm still trying to call out McElroy. He's afraid to play me.
Well, you won't back up Florida State, and you think you can beat Greg McElroy in golf? McElroy will school you in golf.
I'm probably going to have to give Greg strokes, to be honest. I mean, to make it fair, I'm probably going to have to give him some strokes.
Oh, you will.
And I know you guys have Joel Klatt on. Joel Klatt's another one. Like, he's got really good game. I can't chase him down either. So I'm looking for a game for Joel Klatt as well.
What about Peter Burns, SEC Network? Would you take Peter on?
Peter Burns, that might be the number 1 target on my list because he's a college golfer. And those guys they come out there with all the latest gear, and I'm sure he'll be dressed to the nines, and he'll definitely have the SEC belt on with all the different teams wrapped around it. Peter Burns might be number 1 on the list who I want to take down.
What about Hugh Freeze?
Oh, yeah. What about Hugh Freeze?
I'm sure he'd agree.
Hugh Freeze might be one I'm scared of because I can't figure out his real handicap. Like, I know there's multiple handicaps there on the GIN system. Hugh Freeze might be the one that scares me the most.
Oh, Kanell, you're amazing, man. We'll try to work it out. I think GMAC takes you down, man.
All right.
Especially if you come and play here at Birmingham Country Club of Birmingham or Shoal Creek. I think GMAC takes you down, man.
Woo! Oh, it's on now. Yeah. We'll figure out a bet. We'll go high stakes for that one.
Thank you for helping me out, Danny. Appreciate you, buddy.
Great talking to you guys as always. We'll see you.